The day Uncle Harold died, my world tilted. He wasn't just family, he was my anchor, the one who patched me up after every heartbreak and whispered, I'd be okay when I doubted it most. So when his lawyer slid that envelope across the table, I wasn't ready. Inside, his will hit me like a punch. To Clara, I leave Harold's curiosities, my greatest treasure. His antique shop, that crumbling relic on Maple Street. I almost laughed through my tears. Dusty shelves, creaky floors, and the stale whiff of mothballs, how could he call that a treasure? I'd spent my 20s juggling dead-end jobs, chasing dreams that slipped further away each year. Now this? It felt like a cruel joke. But Uncle Harold wasn't a joker. He was deliberate, every move calculated like a chess master. I could still hear his gravelly voice spinning tales about chipped teacups and tarnished rings, his eyes twinkling with secrets. If he left me this shop, there had to be a reason. So, I went. The bell jingled as I stepped inside, a faint echo in the dim, cluttered space. Memories rushed back. Me, 8 years old, sprawled on the floor while he wove stories of pirates and lost kingdoms. Back then, this place was magic. Now, it just looked tired. I wandered to his office, a room he'd always kept locked. Business matters, he'd say with that sly wink. The door groaned open, revealing a mess of papers and faded maps. Then I saw it, a crack in the wall, barely there. My pulse quickened. I pressed my fingers to it, feeling for something, anything. A click, a shift. And suddenly, I wasn't just Clara anymore. I was part of something bigger, something Uncle Harold had hidden all along. The wall swung open, and I froze. A hidden room stretched before me, cool, untouched. Nothing like the dusty shop outside. Shelves gleamed with gold coins, jeweled necklaces, and scrolls tied with faded ribbon. My breath hitched. This wasn't junk. This was treasure. In the center, a carved box sat on a pedestal, whispering mystery. Uncle Harold's wink flashed in my mind. He'd planned this. But why me? I wasn't brave or clever, just a girl scraping by. Yet here I was, heart pounding, fingertips brushing that box like it might bite. I'd come expecting answers, maybe a note explaining the shop. Instead, I found a challenge. The room screamed purpose, but danger too. Like I'd stumbled into a game I didn't know the rules to. I cracked the box open, half expecting it to be empty. Inside, a black metal compass glinted, its needle spinning wild. My hands shook as I held it, a jolt racing up my arm. When the dizziness faded, the needle steadied, pointing at the wall. Another click. A compartment slid open, revealing a parchment, a map, sprawling across continents, marked in Uncle Harold's tight scrawl. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a gift. It was a call. Something big loomed ahead, something he'd trusted me to face. I thought of his stories, heroes rising from nothing, ordinary folks finding grit they didn't know they had. Was that what he saw in me? Doubt gnawed, but so did a spark, faint yet stubborn. I'd spent years feeling small. Maybe this was my shot to prove I wasn't. The map crinkled in my grip. Whatever lay ahead, I'd started something I couldn't walk away from. Not now, not after this. Days bled into nights as I pored over that map, the compass my only guide. Uncle Harold's journal surfaced from a hollowed-out book, pages crammed with sketches, cryptic notes, and warnings. One line stopped me cold. Clara is the key. My stomach flipped. Key to what? The words felt heavy, like they'd been waiting for me all along. I traced his handwriting, remembering how he'd nudged me toward puzzles as a kid, grinning when I figured them out. This was bigger, though, way bigger. The deeper I dug, the weirder things got. Shadows lingered too long outside the shop. A lock jiggled one night, though nothing was taken. Paranoia crept in, tightening my chest. Was someone watching? Did they know about the room? I started sleeping with a bat by my bed, jumping at every creak. The journal hinted at a trail. First stop, a crumbling library downtown. There, buried in dusty records, I found a name, Elias Montrose, an explorer chasing the heart of eternity. Power, the legend said, but cursed. My hands went clammy. Was that what Uncle Harold hunted? Every clue raised more questions. Had he hidden this from someone, or protected it? The stakes felt real now, pressing down like a storm cloud. I wasn't just chasing ghosts, I was unraveling a life he'd kept secret. Grief tangled with adrenaline. I missed him, but I was mad too. Why drop this on me without a heads up? Yet his faith lingered, steady as that compass needle. I couldn't stop, not when I felt him in every scribbled note, urging me forward. Outside, footsteps echoed too close. I clutched the journal tighter. Whatever this was, it wasn't mine alone anymore, and that scared me most of all. I couldn't stay still. The compass pointed me to Scotland, to an abandoned monastery in the misty hills. The train ride blurred past, my nerves buzzing. I kept catching glimpses, someone staring too long, a shadow ducking out of sight. Uncle Harold's words looped in my head, "Trust your instincts." Fine, I thought, but my instincts screamed trouble. The monastery loomed, all damp stone and silence, like it had swallowed time itself. Inside, the compass spun, then locked on a path through crumbling halls. That's where I found it. A leather book on an altar, pages thick with star charts and riddles. My fingers trembled as I flipped through, piecing it together. A guide to the heart. Then a growl ripped the air. A hooded figure lunged from the dark, staff swinging. I dodged, heart slamming, adrenaline sharp as a blade. The ground shook. Cracks split the walls, and they bolted, leaving me gasping. Dust settled, revealing a tunnel. Down I went, flashlight shaking, until I reached a chamber. There, on a pedestal, sat an obsidian shard, glinting like a warning. I touched it. Visions hit, fire, screams, power twisting everything it touched. I yanked back, dizzy. This was part of the heart, and it was alive. Uncle Harold hadn't just left me a shop, he'd thrown me into a fight. The truth crashed in. I had to decide, run or keep going. I thought of him, his quiet belief I could handle this. My hands steadied. I took the shard, its weight a promise and a threat. Back outside, rain stung my face. The compass twitched toward Greece. I'd crossed a line, no turning back now. Whatever the heart was, it had me in its grip, and someone else wanted it too. Greece came next, a sunken temple off the coast. I hired a fisherman, his skeptical frown mirroring my own doubts. Under the waves, the ruins glowed, eerie and grand. The compass led me through coral-crusted halls to a sealed chamber. I pried it open, tools scraping stone, and froze. Gold statues, jeweled crowns, and another shard, twin to Scotland's. Before I could grab it, a serpent thing struck, scales like oil, fangs dripping. I dove, panic clawing my lungs, dodging its tail as it smashed the ruins apart. The journal flashed in my mind, sound could stun it. I banged a rod against stone, the clang echoing. It flinched. I snatched the shard and swam, oxygen fading, bursting up to the boat half dead. The fisherman gaped, but I just clutched that shard, its edges biting my palm. Back on shore, I fit the pieces together, two parts of a broken whole, hinting at the heart's shape. It wasn't just treasure, it was a burden. Each step cost more, my safety, my sanity. The hooded figure, the serpent, they weren't accidents. Someone hunted this too. I sat there, shards glinting under a dim bulb, and felt Uncle Harold's ghost beside me. He'd known the price. "She's the key," he wrote. "To unlock it, destroy it." The compass spun east, Nepal, mountains, monks. I packed, hands steady but heart racing. Those shards weren't just objects. They were a mirror, showing me a Clara I didn't recognize. Tougher, maybe. Braver. But the cost loomed. Footsteps echoed outside again, closer now. I gripped my bag. This wasn't over. Every choice I made dragged me deeper, and whatever came next, I'd face it, because he'd believed I could. Nepal called, a jagged range hiding monks and secrets. The plane rattled as I stared at the map, its edges fraying like my nerves. 2 shards weighed my bag down, heavy as guilt. I'd fought for them, bled for them, but doubt gnawed. Was I enough? Uncle Harold thought so, but I wasn't sure. The monastery faded. Now it was mountains, mist, and a promise I'd whispered, "I'll finish this. For him, for me." The flight landed in chaos, dusty streets, eyes tracking me. I hiked up, compass steady, breath fogging in the cold. The monks waited, silent figures in robes, their temple carved into rock. They knew something about the heart, the shards, maybe me. I hadn't slept right in weeks, jumping at shadows that moved too fast. Whoever hunted me was close. I felt it in my bones. The 3rd shard lay ahead, the journal said, guarded by riddles and worse. I'd faced monsters already, literal and not, but this felt different, final. I stood at the temple's edge, wind howling, and clutched the map. The heart wasn't just power, it was a test of courage, of who I could be. Uncle Harold's voice hummed, "Trust yourself." I wanted to. God, I did. But what if I failed him? What if the heart took more than I had left? The monk's chants drifted out, low and steady, pulling me in. Answers waited, about him, about why me. The story wasn't done. Danger loomed, yes, but so did possibility. I took a breath, the compass warm in my pocket, and stepped forward. Whatever lay in that mist, I'd meet it head on, not for glory, but to prove I could carry what he'd left behind. I stood there, lost in the Nepal mist, the compass trembling in my hand. 2 shards weighed down my bag, carrying Uncle Harold's legacy, and maybe more than I bargained for. This journey's not over. I can feel it, answers, dangers, and a part of me I never knew, all waiting ahead. He believed I could do this. I'm not sure I trust myself that much yet. But I won't stop, not now. If you followed me this far, thank you. This isn't just my story, it's yours too, if you want it to be. What do you think's waiting for me in these mountains? Should I keep the heart of eternity or destroy it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. We'll figure out what happens together, okay? I'm Clara, and I'll be back soon. Stay curious, everyone.